everybody for being out here. My name is Schuster. I'm the recreation planner on the Tonto National Park. I'm talking about the recreation that happens on the Tonto and also the designated areas here. There's a fair amount of overlap between the two topics, but I really want to kind of think about them separately. Designated areas go a little bit beyond just wilderness. We also have research natural areas and experimental stations and inventory wilderness areas. They provide a lot of value, but I'll let Sam Frank talk to you a little bit more about that. I just want to point that piece out. If I can make this one work here. All right, so I think kind of hit on some of this stuff. The Tonto is nearly 3 million acres, ranging from the Saguaro Sonoran Desert to Mogi Rim. It kind of goes from nearly the I-17 all the way over to Globe, and then from Basin down to Phoenix. It's a big place. I'm sure most of you guys have been around it. 12 months of recreation year-round. Desert in the wintertime, high country and lakes in the summertime. There's not a shortage of people out there on any given day, any given time of year. And it is the fifth largest forest in the United States. So what do we have here? The recreation program on the Tonto. We have 215 developed recreation sites. They range everywhere from the campgrounds we have here at Roosevelt Lake to the scenic overlooks on the Apache Trail to the picnic areas down on Bartlett Lake. There are a whole variety of different types of recreation sites and different development scales. Of those, about 70 of them, 71 of them are actually fee-for-use recreation sites. We also have 194 recognized forest system trails, equaling 964 miles, almost 1,000 miles of trail on this forest. Motorized trail system is under development through the traffic management document, the EIS that was just released, so if anybody is in fact interested in that, it is available for review on our website. It's not a major topic of this discussion tonight, but it is on the table. There's 179 active special use permits. Those are outfitter guides, horseback hunting, fishing, different recreation events, triathlons, running races. Those are all managed by us. Jumping to designated areas, 8 wilderness areas, 38 miles of wild and scenic river. That's Fossil Creek and the Verde River. There's 2 scenic byways, which is the Highway 288 up to Young and the Highway 188 back to Apache Junction. We've got 1 national scenic trail, the Arizona Trail, 2 national recreation trails, the Highline Trail, and I believe the 6-Shooter Canyon is the other one. What are some other designated places? We have inventory roadless areas, which are areas that have been identified for habitat or other conservation purposes. So we have research natural areas, which are areas of exemplary habitat or ecology. We have experimental forests, such as the Sierra Edge experimental forest, where they've been collecting data for nearly 100 years on everywhere from water quality to climate change. Visitor use. National Visitor Use Monitoring. This is a 5-year program conducted by the Washington office on every forest. Each forest goes every 5 years. We go out and we talk to people. We say, what did you come here today to do? How many people are in your group? How old are you? And did you spend any money on your trip? We just finished the 2013 round, but we don't have the numbers back. This is the 2008 data here. Mostly male visitors. What it is, Hispanic visitors are about 13%. That number is probably a little bit low, but that's what's reported. 21% of the visitors are under the age of 16. It sounds like a small number, but from the visitation perspective, that's over 1 million people. That's a good thing. We want those kids in the woods to come up, be raised, and appreciate public lands. Tonto is a local forest. 71% of people who visit the Tonto National Forest live within 50 miles of the forest. To take that one step further, 85% of the visitors, recreational visitors to the Tonto National Forest live within 100 miles. So that's Flagstaff and that's Tucson. That is 85% of nearly 5 million visitors a year. We are a local forest. Most people spend a day on the forest, though we do have 15+% people that camp. That 15% number again is in the order of 1 million visitors a year. Our developed recreation sites, the boat ramps and campgrounds out here. That only represents 1/3 of our visitation. 2/3 of the visitors on the Tonto are out hiking on the trails, hunting, four-wheeling, in more dispersed areas. So we don't see them as much.
Greg,
Yes, sir.
can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
What was that picture taken?
That is right down there, Bermuda Flats on Memorial Day.
The reason I'm asking is, have you ever sent out an information question on if people would rather camp like that or camp in the campgrounds?
We've not asked that specific question. That's something I can talk to you about after the meeting this evening. Learning more about that. We do ask those questions, but we've not asked them the preference.
I think it's time to do it.
Okay, thank you. That's noted. So visitation data, what are they doing when they're out there? We say, hey, what are you doing? What's your primary activity? What else do you do while you're out here? Well, this is a snapshot of what else do we do. This is a snapshot of what people do. So these percentages here don't equal 100%. Equal way more than 100%. So at any given visit to a forest by a person, 25% of those people are going to take a walk. Approximately the same amount, 24% are viewing natural features. People like to relax. You can see motorized trail is somewhere 17-18% there. That's over a million people off our numbers. Fishing is popular, viewing wildlife, driving for pleasure, motorized water recreation, jet ski, water skiing, wakeboarding, and developed camping right there. It's 10%. So that's 500,000 some odd people a year. So how are recreation areas, the designated areas, managed? We've got kind of three ways to look at this, and actually we've got it going kind of from the forest level to the agency and regional level, and then kind of the congressional stuff down there at the bottom. So I'm going to kind of look from the bottom, this slide at the top, because I like it better. This is Congress. This is designation right here. These are the laws that have been passed in modern history that apply to recreation. Multiple Use Sustained Yield Act of 1960, first time that Congress recognized recreation, timber, ranging, and minerals as all having equal value on public lands. 2001 Roadless Area Conservation Final Rule, that's the inventory of roadless areas. Wilderness Act of 1964 designated the first set of wildernesses in Arizona. There have been two subsequent acts designating wilderness, one in 1984, one in 1990. The Wild and Scenic Rivers Act that allows the Verde River and Fossil Creek to be recognized as such. The National Scenic Byways Program is your Apache Trail, and the Spine to Pine 288 up to Young. That's the Federal Transportation System Act. The Travel Management Rules affecting use of motorized vehicles on the forest. And the Federal Lands Recreation Enhancement Act is what authorizes the charging of fees for campgrounds and some day use sites that meet the criteria. So another, sorry about that. At the Washington kind of staff level, agency level, and the regional level, we have the framework for sustainable recreation, which is this concept of integrating society, ecological benefits, and economics into the management of recreation. So it's not just about the people on the land, but it's about where they spend their money and managing the environment for them to enjoy their recreation. That's the Washington level. It comes down to the regional recreation strategy. This is how we're going to accomplish that. And at a finer grain level, we have the Tonto recreation strategy that's currently underdeveloped that we will be using based on these two actions here. This should be over the next year or so coming out. Then we get to another forest management, forest plan management direction. We're currently under a forest plan written in 1985. So what's that? That's 30 years old. It's probably 32 or 33 years old by the time the new plan comes out. The new plan is coming out and being written under the 2012 planning rules. That's what we're doing the assessment. That's why we're here tonight. And then another framework that's very popular in the agency, it's a management tool that we use. It's called the Recreation Opportunity Spectrum. This model recognizes, for the past 30 or 40 years, the positive recreation experiences are just as much about the setting as it is about the activity you're trying to do. You're hunting, you tend to go off out, a little further out to get away. You're not necessarily hunting out behind the houses. The setting is very important. And there's actually, if you look off to your left, this map with the pink right here is actually the 1985 recreation opportunity spectrum for the whole forest. This does have the potential to be modified in this upcoming plan revision. Let's see. So just quickly, there's 6 main recreation opportunity classes, and pictures are worth 1,000 words. There's primitive, nice natural area. Semi-primitive, non-motorized. Trails, still pretty primitive. No, just motorized. Semi-primitive, motorized. You can drive your quad, your UTV out there. Roaded natural. Looks like a campground or a picnic site right there. Probably not too far off the beaten path. Rural, actually, I think that's done, but it would be the little trail systems that wind in and out of their communities. And then urban, for us to be the lower Salt River, I think that's a picture under there as well. But each one of those has an idea of what kind of developments can be put in to support recreation. So we did a lot of this. I'm going to move through this pretty quick. So it's the physical, it's the type of access, it's the remoteness, it's the perceived distance from civilization. This is all about experiences based on settings. It's minimum acreages for primitive areas. It's how close you are, how many interactions you have with other people, and it's the types of facilities that we develop or don't develop, and it's the level of impacts that people may expect to see when they go to those areas. So sustainable recreation, this is the back of the framework that we're working on here on the Tonto. It's at the Washington level. Their motto is renewing body and spirit and inspiring passion for the land. We're really trying to embrace that. The planning room, the set of recreation settings and opportunities on the national forest system that's ecologically, economically, and socially sustainable for present and future generations. We're trying to set this up. If you guys have kids, it's your kids that are going to be living with this plan that we're writing. If this plan lasts 30 years, it's going to be your kids and your grandkids that are going to be living with the changes that are made for this plan. That's why it's important. Sustainable recreation, so this is the regional program. The Forest Service, diverse and engaged public that enjoys and actively cares for the land, taking care of it for our kids. National trends. Arizona population growth is increasing in the country. It's increasing in Arizona too. There is a reduction of traditional recreation activities such as hunting and fishing. Increased interest in more nature-based activities, and increasing interest in nature-based activities such as wildlife viewing and photography. A lot of technology out there changing things, whether it's technology to quads and four-wheelers or GPS units. There's a lot of things. Mapping applications to get people to find their trailheads. It's changing the way people do things on the forest. But there is an increasing recognition across the country and locally that we got to keep kids in nature. Gotcha. Thank you. Arizona. So here's our Arizona Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, written by the state of Arizona. Every 10 years, updated every 5 years. Identifies that tourism continues as one of Arizona's top industries. Recreation and tourism is an $18 billion a year industry in this state, and it generates 157,000 jobs and $5.1 billion in paychecks. Currently, population growing. Daily Yavapai County, Maricopa County is growing. It's a fact. Everybody's coming from California. It's the 8th fastest growing state in the U.S. 60% of the population is in Maricopa County. Right now, there's 8 million people in Arizona. There's 6.3 million right now. There's supposed to be 8 million in 2030. There's going to be 12 million in 2050. So by 2050, a doubling of the population. Tonto trends, changing demographics of forest users. What we do see on the forest, those of the people on the forest don't represent the demographics of the state, and that's something that we're working on trying to understand right now. We're also seeing that people are spending shorter times on the forest. So they're not going out for the long camping trips anymore. And I think the Arizona Outdoor Recreation Plan also says that not as many people are camping, whether it's RV or primitive camping, that they used to be. So that's actually a concern to us. Tonto trend, declining budgets. Our appropriated funds have decreased by 30% since 2010. We have a 20-plus-year-old recreation infrastructure we're having to manage right now, and we're challenged by non-payment at a lot of key sites. So those are major challenges we're working on right now in this part. A little more, I'll hand it over here. We do have an increasing dependence on volunteers. Right now, they generate about $1 million of labor annually to us. We have a very strong desire to partner with local agencies and organizations, whether they be city, county, state, or nonprofits and established clubs. So a couple of our successful partnerships, and this is by no means the exhaustive list, the Arizona Wilderness Coalition, the Tonto Recreation Alliance, which manages our four-wheel drive trails, and the Arizona Conservation Board, major